So, here are my thoughts on Bruce Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. For those who aren't familiar with the boss's backstory, his first two albums, which were Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey, and The Wild, Innocent, the E Street Shuffle, received great reviews from critics, didn't necessarily make a big splash financially. Born to Run was the album where he first made enough money that he could continue as a musician, although he was still a relatively underground niche figure until the Born in the USA album several years later. But after Born to Run, he would release his later a very challenging acoustic, basically folk album called Nebraska, that is very dark and honestly depressing lyrics, which it's not happy-go-lucky stuff. I'll leave it at that. That's what Nebraska album's about. And Deliver Me From Nowhere is about Bruce Springsteen's creative process as he works on the Nebraska album. And I'll put it this way. The way I look at a biopic is, what would you learn about the person and the movie's about, or the events the movie's about, that you didn't already know by seeing the movie? And if you're a major Bruce Springsteen fan, like you all know I am, then you know that there's not a ton of what's in Deliver Me From Nowhere, at least not a ton of the real stuff, the stuff that actually happened. There's not a ton in there that you wouldn't already know. It might put a more human face to stuff that you do know, but there's not a ton of stuff in there that you don't already know. So if you're a casual fan of Bruce Springsteen or not a fan of Bruce Springsteen at all, then this movie might actually teach you more. But the question is, if you're not a fan of his, or if you're only a casual fan, what's the point? And I can't answer that question, because imagining a world where I am not a fan of Bruce Springsteen is a fan that doesn't exist. So I will leave, if you love Bruce Springsteen enough, you will probably enjoy the movie anyway. If you're more of a casual fan, or if you're not really into him at all, I'll leave it up to you if you think learning more about the process of the Nebraska album and what he was going through in his life and what went into its production. I'll leave it up to you to decide if it's worth it. God bless.